Calvin, looking sharp, looking handsome, nice hair. Welcome to the stage. Welcome. And clap as he comes. Mr. You're talking about? Yes, he's going to talk about self-imagery. I really want to listen to that because me and my selfness. You take the stage. Welcome. Yeah. Excuse me. We are going to have our attention given to this man and this man only.
When I was in primary school, in class 8, I remember our head teacher told us we were at the parade ground, and the teacher told us to, for a moment, picture yourself in that national school you want to go to. I want you to feel how it feels when you're there. I want you to see yourself in your classes, and I want you to see yourself learning there. And I remember the feeling I had at the time. Up until now, I feel it. Fast forward to high school. After high school, yeah, I went to the high school. I thought about that. And after high school, fast forward, we do our KCSE, and we get the results. And whatever I thought about, and whatever was in my mind at the time was going to law school, and I could see myself in court. I could see myself arguing out cases, and that is what I'm doing right now in moot court at least. My name is Johnny Calvin Mwenda, and I am going to talk about the universal law of thought, more specifically the power of self-imagery. Yes. So, what is self-imagery or imagery? Is it? Yeah. Self-imagery is what you see about yourself. It is more of what you see when you're in front of a mirror and how you feel in that moment. So, self-imagery is what you think about yourself. So, you think, and when you think, what do we say? You think and then you become. So, things become results in accord to the feelings you attach to them. So, back to my story. When I was thinking of going to that national school, I was in a green short, in a green shirt, and by then I didn't know what. Okay, I went to Mangu, yeah. So I didn't know what Mangu uniform was. I was surprised. Kupata tunavaa shorts from 1 and from 2. Yes, but whatever I felt at the moment really made me work towards going to that school, yeah? Yes. So the essence of universal law of thought has 2 basic aspects. First is the rational aspect, and then you have the emotional aspect. The rational aspect is the general idea, the idea of what you want to do, or the idea of where you want to be. And then the emotional aspect is the feelings and emotions you attach to it. Yes? Yes. So basically, you recognize something in your thoughts, you energize it in your brains, and then you actualize it in your life experiences. Yeah? So in the 2 stories I've given you, I had to think about them, I had to actualize them, and then I had to energize them in my life experiences. Yeah? So there are 3 primary areas that are covered in the universal law of thought. One is thoughts about yourself, and then thoughts about others, and then thoughts about the world at large. So thoughts about yourself is your self-image. Thoughts about others is your attitude towards others and towards what others see in you. And then the thoughts about the world are your general outlook about life and about how life should be. So because we don't have time, I'm just going to talk about self-image, the thoughts about yourself. So it is important, like self-imagery is important because whatever you think about yourself affects how you feel about yourself, and then it will also affect how you interact with others. If you value yourself, it will inherently mean you will value others and you will want them to value you as well. Yeah. So when you align yourself to a certain thought, and you will always move to a more actionable, you will be more actionable on that thought to grow yourself and to grow others around you. Yeah? Yes. So self-imagery determines how it determines your capacity to give, receive, and interact with life experiences that confront you. Basically, in life, you will always attract people who you are compatible with. Yeah. So if you are, that doesn't matter. So if you want something, you must develop a self-image that is compatible to what you want and what will support your very thoughts. I will give you an example. A question that is always asked in interviews is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know whether you've ever asked yourself why they don't ask you, for example, where will you be in 5 years? It has to be more specific on where you see yourself in 5 years. Or also they will ask you, how much do you expect us to pay you when we give you this job? So that is a very tricky question, you know that, because if you give a value that is less than that position, then it means you don't believe in yourself, or you don't believe in your skills, and like maybe you will, there's a high chance of you failing in what you want to do. And if you give yourself, or if you give a value that is higher than expected, it means you have so much pride in yourself and such. So it is. So that just tells you that your self-image is really important. I'd want to differentiate between self-image and self-esteem first before I go on. So majorly self-image and self-esteem are similar, yeah? Hakuna difference sana. But self-esteem is more than the image, is more than you see yourself, is more than you feel about yourself, because esteem has, it is in respect to ourselves, and it involves how favorably or unfavorably we feel about ourselves. That is a bit complicated, I won't talk about that, but there are three main things that affect your self-image. One is your thoughts, emotions, and feelings, and then the environment, and then the associations you have. First, thoughts, emotions, and feelings. Majorly, when we are growing, children develop these things at a very young age. By the age of 7, you have learned how to love, you have known good, you have known bad, you have known how to approach things, you have known how to go about certain things. So if you're taught fear, you will grow up fearing something, for example. So yeah, that is about thoughts and emotions and feelings. About environment, we all know that the environment we grow in affects us. That is true. I think it's very basic. When you grow in an environment, okay, when first you feel like, if I personally feel like I cannot do this, and I grow in an environment where these people believe you can't do it, it is obvious that I will not do it. Yeah. But if you grow in an environment where you believe you can't do this, but the people around you support you and encourage you to do things, you will obviously have to go for it because the environment really affects your thinking, it affects your growth, it affects generally everything about yourself. So if you are in an environment where an environment which affects you negatively, there are three things you can do. You either leave the environment, you either change your self-image, or you change the environment, which is the easiest to do, which I think most people do, is changing your self-image. Like you start improving yourself if you are in a good environment, and if you are in a bad environment and you have positive vibes, you start deteriorating. Yeah? Yes. The third one is associations, and this is very key. We were talking about friendships earlier, and I should have said this. The people you associate yourself with really determine who you are and who you become. They always say, you show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. Sindio? Yes. I quoted some guy, he's called John someone. He's a Swiss theologian, and he says that if you have sexual intercourse and intimate relations with someone for a period of time, you will develop a character where you start becoming similar in voice, in actions. Whatever you do will be more similar. So this just tells you that you should primarily associate yourself with people who bring out the best in you. So if you are to date someone who will help you grow, who will improve your self-image, who will make you feel confident about yourself, who will push you to do things you thought you couldn't do. Because obviously such associations greatly affect you as a person and society at large. So how do you know you have negative or bad or poor self-image? I'll talk about myself. One is blaming someone or putting blame on someone else for your own circumstances. And by this I mean, you know you are in this position because of yourself, but you will want to blame something or you want to blame someone because of that. You get what I mean? Yeah. And then I am also someone who runs away from my problems. Sometimes I don't like confronting my problems head on. I will tend to divert my attention and go through it or above it, but I'll not really think about it. So if you feel like you run away from your own problems, you have a problem with your self-image. And then pretending everything is okay. And this is, I think, universal. I like, in as much as I have trouble, for example, in my dating life, I will want to be okay. I will ignore whatever is there. Mimi nijiambie niko sawa. So whatever happens from there, I don't care. If we will be okay, that is up to her. Yeah? She's the one who will make things in Chambaje? Yes, that. So when you pretend everything is okay and you do not want to confront it yourself, then you have a problem with your self-image. And I should have talked about dimensions of self-image. The first one obviously being physical, and physical is how or what you see when you look in a mirror, what you see about yourself, and whether you see yourself as handsome, pretty, yes. The other one is psychological, and psychological is key because this is what talks about your personality. So how you think about yourself. If you think about yourself as someone who can do it, as someone who can make it, that is the psychological bit of your self-image. And then we have skill set, skill dimension. Personally, I am a software developer, yeah? And as I was learning these things are tricky kidogo. Yes, these things are tricky kidogo. And as I was learning, I remember failing. And at the end of it all, right now I believe I'm good at what I do. So, say nikienda interview, I will be like, I believe in my skills. I know what I can do, and I will charge you a lot of money, obviously, because I believe what I'm bringing to the table is something standard, something you'll want to use, yeah? The other one, I think I've talked about 3 now. No, yeah, that's the third one. The fourth one is intellectual. And the intellectual dimension is obviously about your intelligence, how you solve problems, how you solve issues without, what do I say? Being affected by other people. Yes, that's what I was looking for. And then moral dimension, this is key because morality is, I don't know, we have really changed as an African society. Everyone now has their own morals, everyone has their own beliefs in what should be moral and what should not be moral. So you have to be very keen in what you term as moral as yourself. Ili usiende kujudge watu and all that. And the last one is sexual dimension, and this is how you feel about your sexuality. I won't talk about that because I criticize things. But my time is up, so I'll just end by saying most of the times we tend to see problems as problems, and I think we should see problems as projects. Why? Because problems are things we have already preconditioned our minds as things we can't solve. Problems are hard things, but projects are things you want to accomplish and to do away with within a certain period of time. So whatever comes your way should be a project and should not be a problem. How you deal or how you improve your self-image is by, obviously, the negative or the positive of what I said earlier, of what makes your self-image be blurred. The first one is being honest with yourself. So if things are not okay, just be honest with yourself. Tell yourself, Misawa, things are not okay, but I can deal with them. And from there, that is where you start being yourself. The moment you decide, the moment you tell yourself that you're not okay, and you start dealing with it, that's where life starts, yeah? The other one is developing your imagination, which is very key, because I feel like most of us right now are very narrow-minded in our thinking. I believe that $1 million shillings is not a lot of money. I think right now $1 million shillings is like 1,000. But there's someone who you can tell you have 1,000 bob, naya kuoneka ni bola sana. Yeah? That is just a typical example of how narrow-minded some people can be. So you need to see life as life and not as a small village. Like, you shouldn't think about yourself as a guy from the village, but you should think yourself as a person from the world, and you think about the world at large and not small things. So you need to develop your imagination. You need to develop how you think about your career. For example, I am a lawyer. I don't have to think about law alone. I think I need to think about life at large and how I can use my law to impact others. Yes. And then another key thing is being able to relax. I think life has taken us too fast, that we are not able to see ourselves changing. We do not have time to sit down and relax and see kumenda hivi. So if you give yourself time to relax and like think about things, think before you take that leap, think before or think after you did this, what happened, you see the consequences and all that, you will be able to know your next step. You will be able to like get away from the world kidogo and see how the world is going on. And then after that, you can go back and go on, which will, I think, impact how you see yourself and how you think about the world at large. The last one, yes, I'll combine two. First is you grow about your you grow from your mistakes, and then you unmask. Growing from your mistakes is generally being willing to learn and being willing to grow, as it says, yeah. So you want to learn from this mistake. Hautaki kukaa hapo. You don't want to like see this thing as the stone which I can't go through or which you can't cross. The more you deal with something, the easier for you it becomes when you meet it ahead. So as you guys were saying, don't fear dating, don't fear relationships, just go for it. After whatever will happen will teach you, will give you life lessons. So in the next relationship you will have learned, you will have grown, and it will be easier for you. Unmasking is unmasking like and being the real you. I feel like most of us live lives that are life, how do I say it? In quotes, living life for others. And by that I mean you don't live your by your own code of conduct, you don't live by your own self. Unaishi maisha ya like you want to be someone, yeah? You don't live by yourself, so you need to get that image off, ukue yourself. Ni kama makeup, yeah? If you apply makeup, sindio? If you apply makeup, yes? I'm not done. I'm just giving it as an example. Like, if you apply makeup, like unaweza apply just for the sake of enhancing your beauty, and then you can apply makeup just to change your whole view. So how do I say it? You can change your whole self, sindio? So ni kama kuvaa mask, nika kujifunika na makeup. So you need to remove that. I'm not saying that you don't do makeup on yourself. It's an hypothetical example, yeah. So you need to remove that thing from your self-image and see yourself as yourself. Yes, and then be happy. Generally be happy. The happier you are about yourself, the happier you are about how tall I am. Yes. I am very tall. So because I'm happy I'm tall, I think hakuna mtu ataniambia mimi ni mfupi na ni feel vibaya. So like be happy about everything. If you feel like your hair doesn't grow, be happy about that and be comfortable with that. At the end of it all, it is you who determines whether you will be happy or you will not be happy. I have a friend who tells me that it is you who determines who's going to hurt you and who's not going to hurt you. So if you give yourself to someone, it is you who decided to do that. So if you're hurt, it is your own consequence. Yeah? Yes. So generally, it is important to know yourself. It is important to write down things you love about yourself. And at the end of it all, you will know who you are and you will know what to do with yourself.